Hey guys, and welcome back to another GCSE revision video. Today we're going to be doing some trigonometry, which I know isn't everybody's favourite topic, but needs must and all that. So I'm going to focus in this video on Pythagoras especially, because I know it can be a bit tricky for some people, but hopefully this video will help you get a better grasp if you've been struggling. Anyway, let's dive straight into it. So how and why do we use Pythagoras Theorem? Well, the use of Pythagoras Theorem is for right-angled triangles only, and we use it to find the length of the longest side of the triangle, or as it's otherwise known, the hypotenuse, using the two shorter sides. The basic formula for Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if you take nothing out of this video, just remember a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you should be able to do Pythagoras. C is always the hypotenuse, as I've already said, which is the longest side. So you can see where it's marked X on this diagram between A and B. That is clearly the longest side, and it's always opposite the right angle, which is, well, C is where the right angle is. A and B are the two other sides. It's not really that important which one's which, either or. 5 could be A or B, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, so let's start with this first example. ABC is a right-angled triangle. AC equals 5 centimeters and CB equals 10 centimeters. Find the exact length of AB. So to start off with, step 1 is to identify A, B and C and write down the formula. So I've already said that C is always the hypotenuse, and that's the longest side opposite the right angle. So we can see the longest side is clearly AB, and that's opposite the right angle. So we know that C equals X, because we don't know how long that is. And then A and B, well, it makes sense to line them up, because A, let's just call A 10 centimeters and B 5 centimeters. And using this absolutely magical formula over here, A squared plus B squared equals C squared, let's just write that down so we don't forget it. Okay, so step number 2, substitute the numbers into the equation. So we know that we've named 10 centimeters as A. I'll just put a little A underneath it so we can remember. 5 centimeters as B and X as C. So using that, we substitute this in. So A squared, so 10 squared plus B squared, so B is 5 squared equals C squared, or same as AB squared. So when it comes to solving the equation, we know 10 squared is 100. You could use a calculator, but I'm just going to do this in my head. Plus 25 is 5 squared equals C squared, which equals 125. So we know that C squared equals 125. So in order to get C on its own, we need to square root both sides. So C equals square root of 125. And it wants the exact length, so don't worry about converting it into a decimal or anything. Just this can be changed to 5 root 5, which is equivalent to root 125. So here we have another example. Find the length of BC to 3 significant figures. So going through exactly the same method as before, identify A, B and C. So we know C is always the hypotenuse and opposite the right angle. So it's looking like it's this side over here, so let's just put a C here. And it doesn't really matter A or B, but because this corner here corresponds with this side over here. I'm just going to call this A and this B, but it doesn't matter. Could be either or. So let's write down the formula so we don't forget it. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now we can also see here they've already given us C squared. So we're going to have to rearrange the equation. You can either do this now or later once you've substituted the numbers, but I'm going to do it now. So in order to get A squared by itself, which is what we want because A is X, we don't know how long it is, you have to take away B squared from both sides. So it would be A squared equals C squared minus B squared. So now that we've rearranged, we can put the numbers right in there. So A squared equals C squared, which is 18 squared, minus B squared, which is 15 squared. Now we could have rearranged the equation here, but we've done it already. So I'll just put an arrow up here to show that we've done it already. So we need to solve the equation. So A squared equals 18 squared minus 15 squared, which is 300, just using my calculator, 324 minus 225, which equals 99. So in order to get A by itself, because A squared equals 99, so A, we need to square root both sides, equals root 99, which is the equivalent to 9.9498 blah 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 blah. And the question asks for 3 significant figures, so I'm going to write A equals 9.95 meters, and there we have our answer. So once we've got past the basics of working out the length of a side, we can employ this valuable skill that we've learnt to find the length between 2 points on a graph. So on this example, point Q has coordinates 2, 6, and point Z has coordinates 8, minus 1. Find the exact length of the line QZ to 1 decimal place. That's a funny wording of question because it shouldn't be exact length and then say to 1 decimal place, but we'll just go with 1 decimal place. Let me just scribble this out. So the first thing we do in a question like this is we turn this line into a right angled triangle by constructing these sort of imaginary lines here, and then like magic itself, we have ourselves a right angled triangle with QZ being the hypotenuse, or C. So we want to find C. Let's just call this side A, this side B. So to work out, we need to find the lengths of the shorter side, A and B, and to work that out, you need to find the difference between the points, between the Y points for A and between the X points to find B. So 6 minus 1, so that would be A equals 6 minus 1, which equals 6 plus 1, which equals 7. So A equals 7. And if we want to work out B, it would be so if we wanted to work out B, it would be 8 minus 2, because that's the difference between the x coordinates, which is 6. So now we get to step 3, solve the equation. So we know A squared plus B squared equals c squared. I'm starting to sound like a broken record with that equation, but it's vital, so remember it. So substituting the numbers in, 7 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. And then so 49 plus 36 equals c squared, which equals 85. And now we square root both sides, so c equals root 85, which, giving the answer to 1 decimal place, let me just use my calculator, comes out as 9.2. Anyway guys, that brings us to the end of this absolutely magical journey through Pythagoras. It's been emotional, hope the video's been helpful, and please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Anyway, bye for now.